that in a minute. Hello, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 109 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello.
Hello.
Matthew, hello.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. I forgot to mute the YouTube, so I'm hearing myself in my head. Okay, that's muted now. Hello, welcome. If you're joining us live on YouTube, I have the YouTube screen up here. It is now muted, and please interact with us as we go along here. Chime in with your own questions, concerns, opinions. It would just be a ton of fun. And with that, I think we're ready to get into the podcast. Christian, are you ready?
Dave, I am ready.
Awesome. Matthew, are you ready?
I am ready.
Listeners, I hope you are ready, and let's get to it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to 100. Nope. Got that one wrong.
Welcome to 100.
Yep, welcome to 100. We keep it 100 on this podcast. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and this is episode 109. I am joined by my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello.
Hello, Dave.
How are you doing today?
I am doing, Dave. It's just another day, just powering through. How are you doing today?
I am doing fairly well. It's been an interesting week. You know how I live kind of 2 to 3 years in the past from like a pop culture perspective. I always see movies very, very late. Well, over the holidays, Christian, I saw The Greatest Showman, and I have been playing that soundtrack pretty much nonstop for the past week and just loving life. So that's been how my week is going. Matt, hello. How are you doing?
Doing great, Dave. Thanks for asking. City got off to a 3-0 win this morning, so excited about that. I'm just real excited about this podcast.
Yeah, I can feel your guys' energy, just the excitement boiling over. So I'm excited. I have my new pop filter here, which I'm very excited about. Hopefully I'm sounding a lot better in your ears. And we're just getting more and more professional here on the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. Christian, do you have our trivia question this week?
I do have our trivia question this week. My trivia question is going to be about the World Cup that just happened. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So there was a game that was a scoreless draw. I guess you guys probably remember which one that was. It was Denmark versus France. Do you guys know the last time there was a World Cup where there was not a scoreless draw?
Okay. I remember them talking about it, and I don't remember the exact time. So I have a guess in my head. I don't know why it just jumped in my head, but we'll see. What are you guys laughing at?
You.
Okay. I made that South Park joke, the 1864.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Matt, before I turn it over to you, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to listener Scott. I don't know if you want us to say your last name, so I'm just going to give you a first name, but you tagged us on Facebook when somebody asked about the best podcast to listen to. So I just wanted to thank you. That's really, really awesome. And we wanted to appreciate it, give you a shout out. So thanks very much, Scott. You know who you are, and we appreciate it. Matt, over to you for Matt's Megs.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for that little intro. Well, welcome everybody to Matt's Megs. This week, we'll be discussing Sarri. I don't know what his first name is, actually. Mauricio. Wow. Should have looked that one up. And Mauricio Sarri, the Chelsea manager. What was it, yesterday when he went into the press after the Arsenal match where they lost 2-0 on the road and completely hammered his entire squad in the press, saying they have no heart or they're impossible to motivate. There was a lot of things being said, all kind of negative that came out. Dave, I'll start with you. What do you make of these comments? And is it, bad for Chelsea, or is it a language thing you think, or?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's great for Chelsea. I think he's probably tried other motivation tactics, and so he's trying this one. That would be my only guess. I mean, we've kind of seen this with Chelsea players in the past. They've burnt out with Mourinho. They've burnt out with Conte, and maybe it is a culture thing at Chelsea. And then conversely, maybe it's a cultural thing with Maurizio Sarri. I believe he's Italian, and maybe this is just, him blasting players in the media is more common. But I mean, he has a point. I mean, I watched, I was working out while watching the match, and so I was partially watching, but every time I looked up, it looked like Arsenal was pretty much dominating, and Chelsea just didn't look up for it.
All right. Yeah, I agree, Christian.
He was a little bit harsh in the media, but I gotta say they were embarrassing yesterday in their performance. I think as the game went on, they got a little better, I guess, in the attack, but Arsenal always looked organized, always looked like they were not going to be broken down. There were very, very few chances created for Chelsea, even when Arsenal dropped back and let them keep the ball. But when Arsenal were playing to score, they were getting chances. They were keeping the ball. Chelsea looks absolutely out of sorts. And it's true. He said, similar to the Spurs game, it was the same type of attitude they had at Wembley. And they just, like he said, he thought he had it figured out. And he's more angry now that he thought everything got sorted out. And it happened again at another top 6 rival.
Yeah. So do you guys think that Chelsea is being treated kind of unfairly in the media, considering they're still top 4?
No.
Okay. Well, they're still top 4, and they're kind of going through a culture change with a new manager. I mean, it's his first season, and their best player has been linked away from the club the entire time the manager's been there. They lost their huge goalie star, I guess, in Courtois. So do you think that you're being treated unfairly or being unfairly, judged?
Huge goalie star.
Yeah, I don't think so. But this is what we do in, I guess we're part of the media, but this is what the media does, right? We overreact to things, or maybe it's not even an overreaction. It's just the reality of the situation. There's something we have to talk about. And so, I mean, it was happening with Spurs, and, they were in the title race until 2 weeks ago. And now they're talking about they're not going to finish top 4, and United's been crushed all year. And I think most teams, knock on wood, City and Liverpool haven't gone through this. I think go through ups and downs in a season. And so I think it's natural to go through a down. And when that's happening, the media is naturally going to criticize. So I don't think it's unfair criticism, but I just think it's a natural process.
All right. And do you guys still think they'll finish top 4? Or do you think they'll get their act together at least?
I do. So, yeah, I do. I predicted them to finish 3rd before the season. I think they'll end up coming 4th, but Arsenal really might push them for that. And even United at this point, I think it's really going to be a battle for 4th. I think Tottenham does get their act together and ended up coming in 3rd, but I think Chelsea does have enough to hold on, but it's going to depend on what happens this transfer window.
Yeah, Christian?
I mean, there's 14 match weeks left, right, at this point. So there's a lot of time, and there's a 4-point gap between 6th and 3rd. So it is really, really tight, and I think we're going to be in for a really interesting race to the end. I thought United was kind of down and out. Now they all of a sudden have just appeared out of nowhere. But if you look at their schedule, the only team they've beaten right now is Spurs in this run of 6 games. So I really don't know what we're looking at. They've only played bottom half tables in the other 5 games. And I think we need to see them against upper level teams, and it's going to be tough for them once they start to get that feel good factor out with Solskjaer. I think that they had this new bump from a new manager, as every team seems to get, other than probably Fulham, because look at them, they're embarrassing. But other than that, it seems like everyone else does get this little bump, and then it slowly starts to calm down, and they go back to neutral.
All right. So, last question. Do you think Sarri's in the hot seat at all? After you comment.
I don't think he is, but this was kind of touching on the topic that I want to get to anyways. Sarri is a manager that needs players to fit his system. It seems like he's not very, very adaptable. And this seems to happen with a lot of modern managers where they need time to get their players in. And so a lot of these players that he's playing with right now don't fit his system perfectly. And so I think he should be given the time, but Chelsea has been known to not really give managers enough time. So I think they would be dumb for getting rid of him, but it's not out of the question for a club like Chelsea.
Christian?
I think he needs a better defense. I think that they're just garbage. I think their outside backs are very average, but their center backs are just a disaster. I think Rudiger could be okay if he had a really good center back next to him, but David Luiz looks like a chicken with his head cut off out there. And I don't know. I think Jorginho is not better than Conte at the holding role, and he's being forced to play there, and Conte should be in that role. They're clearly missing him there. I think Conte looks a little bit lost. He's still an excellent player, but when he's further forward, I think you lose a lot of what he brings to a team. And I think Maurizio Sarri is going to be fine. I don't think that they'll fire him. I know Roman Abramovich probably has other ideas, but I think that he'll be fine at least for a little while. And Higuain coming in, as we'll talk about in my section.
Oh, foreshadowing.
It might be a big help for him.
All right. Wait, quick question, since we brought this up. Remember that rumor Abramovich was maybe going to sell the team? Whatever happened with that?
Doesn't he not have a visa to get into England right now?
Exactly, yeah. So I think he's Israeli and Russian. So I think he's in Israel right now. I'm not exactly sure where he is, but yeah, I don't think he has a visa to actually be in London. I don't. Yeah, I haven't heard more about the sale. I'm sure things are happening behind the scenes, but also Chelsea doesn't have a director of football operations, and from my understanding, Abramovich is almost like right-hand woman is running things, and she's more of like a business mind. And so I think they need a director of football operations, and that might help settle things there.
All right. So you guys have anything you want to add on this?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. All right. So a lot of rumors going around for the January transfer window, and Weston McKennie has been linked to Liverpool with a $20 million something move. Christian, what do you make of this rumor?
Ridiculous. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he fits into their system right now. I think he is going to, if he was to come, it'd be a purchase for the future, but I don't think that's good for the development of him as a player and for the U.S. soccer pool. I think he needs to be playing, and Schalke is the right team for him at the moment, in my opinion. I think he's getting minutes. He's playing a bunch of different positions, but I don't think Liverpool is really where he should be.
I mean, if Jordan Henderson can get minutes, I think he'll be fine getting minutes.
Are you guys going to rile me up on Jordan Henderson?
Yeah, Henderson is. That's why I made that comment before going to you.
Okay. Henderson is fine. Listen, he's not the greatest player. I'm going off on a little tangent here, but Henderson is not the greatest player in the world. I'll accept that. But he definitely serves a role on Liverpool. Even as a bench player, he may not be in the strongest starting 11, but he still has a role at Liverpool. All right. That is my comment on Henderson.
They probably give him like a role.
Totally.
Like, here,
totally. Yum, yum. Oh, okay. We're making bread jokes here. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ. That completely threw me off. I didn't know what. I thought you were talking about movie role. I thought you were talking about, okay. Weston McKennie to Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool already came out and kind of squashed it. It's not happening. It doesn't make sense. I do think, McKennie does need to get a position locked down at Schalke. He's an up-and-coming player, American, which I think helps his case. And so teams are naturally going to be rumored to be after him. If he can sort of lock down a midfield role, because I think that's his best position at Schalke, I think it'll be good for his development. I know we were talking on the Slack channel. I think somebody brought up Everton. I think it was Drew brought up Everton. That might be a better destination, especially because they might have some movement with some of their players. Am I thinking the right team? Does Gay play there?
Yeah. Adrika Gay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He's being rumored to bigger teams.
PSG. Right, yeah. He's rumored to PSG, but then Everton apparently want Watford's Decore and whatever. So
I don't know. I think he was linked to PSG too.
I think he wants to. What I heard from some podcasts and rumors is that he wants to go to PSG. I don't know if PSG wants him, but he wants. Yeah, exactly. But getting back to the McKennie thing, yeah, I don't think it makes sense to go to a club like Liverpool at this point in his career.
Yeah. All right. So for me, I think it kind of would be interesting. I mean, he's going to a top level club, and Liverpool don't really have that many youngsters like for the midfield going forward. I mean, they're young, but they're not like starlets. You know what I mean? The youngest. Keita is still young, but I mean, he hasn't really stamped his mark on Liverpool. I think he's good, but I don't see why McKennie can't, do what he's done so far.
They also are very different tastes of players.
Christian, what's the center midfielder who's like 18 years old, who's coming up through the academy, 17 or 18? He just played against Wolves. I can't remember his name. I know Will from Tottenham Hotspur.
Or not Camacho?
What? No. Camacho's an outside back.
Well, he plays striker for their youth team or for the youth team. So he plays all the positions. This
guy's a center midfielder. Will from Tottenham Hotspur World asked me like questions on him, and I can't remember his name now. But they do have an up and comer who's a teenager, kind of as a center midfielder, and I can't remember his name now. But
you're talking about, but I can't think of him either. But and also Trent Alexander-Arnold's also a center mid that's being forced to play right back. So
okay. But McKennie does have, what I was trying to get with that point is McKennie does have first team experience in center midfield, where these guys are, up and comers, but you don't know how they're going to respond to first team soccer.
Yeah. And okay, just going off more US soccer, so do you think the Premier League is the best kind of place for these players, or do you think they're fine in the Bundesliga, or like where are they like going to get the best out of these youngsters going abroad?
Who, me? You?
Yeah.
Okay.
You.
So, me. Okay. So I think that England really isn't the best place for American youngsters right now. I think the media is extremely scrutinous over there. Ooh.
Oh,
And,
I don't think that's a word.
I think it is.
It could be.
So I think that it's just really harsh to be over there. And if you make any mistakes, you could just completely be banished from the team. And it's really hard, I think, to play over there because of the attention you get worldwide and everyone is watching you. I think the Bundesliga is a little bit different. It's a really competitive league, and Americans have had success there already. In England, there's only very, very few that have actually been successful there. And I just,
but I mean, they've been our best players.
Yeah, but okay.
Howard, Donovan, and Dempsey.
I mean, Yedlin, Tim Ream are there right now. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, Yedlin's been our best right back.
Negro was there.
Yeah, but I think that's
where our best. I mean, but that's where our best players go, and like that's where they thrive. So I think if we need,
that's because in America we think that is where the best players need to end up. Other than like South America always think Barcelona and Madrid are the top teams that you should end up at. In America, we're like, oh, the Premier League is like the pinnacle of soccer. We want to go there.
Well, I think we need a style. And I think if we have something similar to England, it could benefit us. Whereas like South Americans, if you go to Barcelona or Real Madrid, I think that's the similar style that the South Americans play. And like, that's how they kind of get good. If we're playing in all these different leagues, how are we going to play well as a national team?
Well, I think the Bundesliga style fits Americans very well. The German style of the game, very physical, but it still has a technical piece. I don't think it's quite as physical as the Premier League, but I think it's arguably more technical than the Premier League. And so I think it might be something that we strive for. And even, I mean, sometimes the Bundesliga is even more open than the Premier League. So I would say that. And from a developmental perspective, if we're talking about American youngsters, where they should go to continue developing, I still think, the Bundesliga or Netherlands or a league like that is better for development. And then as they become more polished, I think it's fine to then move on to the Premier League, but I just don't think it's a great developmental step.
All right. I can see your point there. Anything else you guys want to add on this?
I'm good.
I don't think he's coming to Liverpool. I just want to throw that out there.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah.
But could you see him in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, his game, he's very physical. He's small, on the shorter side. He's not like over 6 foot, but he's, I guess, normal size for a soccer player, but he's pretty solid and he can jump. Like he scores a lot. Yeah, he can. He scores a lot on corners.
Got an inch on somebody and starts calling him small. All right, yeah. Last thing I want to add is Tim Weah got his debut for Celtic. Played very well. What did he play, like 30, 20, 15 minutes or something like that?
30, 20, 15.
Something less than 90, and he got a goal. He played very well from the highlights I saw, so shout out to him.
Yeah, and I was on some Scottish soccer show, and they asked me, I was live on the radio at one point. They never sent me the audio. I was going to include it in the podcast, but they just never sent it. The producer of that show, we may have on as a guest in February, so a little teaser there. But they were asking me all questions about Timothy Weah and what I thought about him, and I said if he's playing as a center striker, he's going to have good movement up top, and we saw that with his goal. So little pat on my back for that one.
Good job, Dave. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, guys. I mean, I was fishing for compliments, and I just thank you.
Dad gave a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, hey, Dad.
Okay.
He left.
He didn't want to say hi back.
Yeah, he said.
But I think that's gonna wrap up Matt's Megs. Thank you for joining me. Listen to a little bit of music, and we'll be right back.
Great job, guys. Awesome. Yeah, that was very good. Matt, I got to say, you were into it. You were lively, and I would assume you haven't had any drinks yet, and which is good. I like that
you're bringing yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, he was drinking
been
this
like
time yesterday.
3 drinks in.
Nice. I like that. But
My
good.
diploma
Yeah.
came yesterday.
What?
My diploma.
Oh,
that's
official. Nice. That's awesome.
To be honest, I wasn't so sure until it came.
Well, I'm glad it's official now. Now they can never take that away from you. Christian and Matt, do you guys want to do the stadium scene plug?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whenever you guys are ready.
We want to give a quick plug for our friends' stadium scene. They are. Why would I mess up?
No, you didn't mess up, but it was hilarious. You did like a look down. You know how like movie roles, they like look down to get in character, and then you just like looked up
Like
and went
Chandler,
into it.
Like Chandler when he's trying to take the picture. Look down. look down.
Yeah.
Keep looking down, and he falls asleep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
Sorry.
on. All right.
Go on.
We want to take this time to give a quick plug for our friends' stadium scene. So if you're checking out any stadium in the US or Canada, any sport, please go to stadiumscene.tv. They give you information about the stadiums, where to park, where to eat, bars to go to, events in the area, all types of good stuff, and you should definitely check them out. Matt, what else do they do?
They also partner with content creators like ourselves to offer things like podcasts, blogs, YouTube channels, all that cool stuff. It's similar to what we do, that cool stuff. So definitely check them out. Great website, again, at stadiumscene.tv.
Awesome.
All that cool stuff we do.
You got to promote yourself.
Yeah.
Cool. We just got a question while we were recording. So
About the
teaser.
Stadium Scene podcast.
So why does
No.
your dad not love you?
No. Oh, whoa. No, it was if you
abandon the family.
Yeah, if you could take any rule from the NFL to MLS, what would it be?
Oh,
yeah. So we gotta think on that one. So that's why I wanted to throw it out there. We have a shitload of questions, by the way. So I may cut my Barcelona thing.
Oh, pass interference. Imagine if you couldn't block someone's run.
I mean, they kind of have that, but they just never call it.
Yeah.
Right? They have obstruction.
No, pass interference.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we'll discuss later. I just wanted to let you know, Christian, whenever Christian, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Okay. Trying to think which topic I want to start with. Hold on.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Hey, restart that timer, please,
Yeah,
Steve.
I did. Okay. Hello, viewer. Welcome. We're just getting ready for Christian's Corner right now.
You got it?
Yeah. Ready. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Christian's Corner, the fun part of the podcast, as we've learned every week. So we're going to start this week with Higuain to Chelsea. I don't think this is officially announced yet, but it's pretty much 99% done at this point. Everyone knows. Hopefully it falls through because that will just be hilarious. But I will start with Matt on this one. Higuain to Chelsea. Do you think this makes a big difference to Chelsea? Do you think this is smart for Higuain's career? Where do you think you stand?
Yeah, I think this is very smart for Chelsea considering they don't play a striker at this point. So I think they needed one. I know Morata was struggling, and Higuain's probably towards the end of his career, but I think this is a short-term, fix that I think makes sense. And I think he played with Sarri at Napoli, right? And that's where he kind of got big. So I think it makes sense. What?
I mean, he played at Madrid before he.
Madrid.
Oh, yeah, but he was the backup. It was his return to, I guess, the top.
Yeah, he set the Serie A all-time goal-scoring record at Napoli. So yeah, clearly he excels in Sarri's system.
Under Mourinho.
Well, Benzema eventually.
Benzema was a big cat, or a little.
And then
cat.
he replaced him. Then he became a lion.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right. Back to Higuain.
So yeah, I think, and then so I just think it makes sense for this point in his career and for Chelsea. I think it's going to work.
All right, Dave, what do you think?
I think it's going to work. I mean, my point was going to be he's already played under Sarri in the Napoli system, and he's done incredibly well. So I can't see this going any other way than being a success. He's already played kind of in Spain. He's played in Italy. He's Argentinian by background. So he's played in a bunch of different leagues. I think he'll be able to adapt to the Premier League, and I think he'll do well.
Do you think this makes sense for him to leave Juventus to go to Chelsea, though?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's on loan at AC Milan right now.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But it doesn't make. He's still owned by Juventus, and he could go back there. Does it make sense for him to leave a team like that?
Well, I think it does because is he going to start over Mandzukic and Ronaldo right now? That Juventus, if he went back, I think right now he's looking at. He's like, I could live in London and play and start over Morata, who is struggling. They don't have a striker, so I think it makes a lot of sense for him.
Well, Morata's leaving, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, they still don't have a striker.
All right. Where's Giroud?
Where? Yeah. What is? Why?
Giroud got hurt.
He played yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He came off the bench in the second half yesterday.
All right. Never mind.
And
I know
Arsenal fans were super annoying about cheering for him, and then the commentators were like, "Why are they singing? This is too much. I know they love him, but he's on the other team."
All right, they were winning. They can root for them.
All right.
It's all good fun.
Cool. Anything else you guys have to add on this topic?
Okay.
No. Yeah, let's stop talking about Chelsea. All right, next topic here. Let's go to France. Yeah, let's go to France. Henri ranting at Lala. You guys know about this at all? Have you heard it?
Nope.
I heard just one headline and it made absolutely no sense until I saw your topic. I was like, that's what he was talking about.
So he yelled at Lala in the first half, who was time wasting in the 43rd minute. Okay. And they were just had scored. Falcao had made the score 2-1. Why are you?
Who is Lala a player? I don't even know.
Yeah,
who that is.
yeah. He's like
he plays with Tinkie, Winkie, and Dipsy.
Oh, it's a Teletubbies joke. Oh my god. All right. I'm sorry. Let's reel it back in. Holy shit. Who is Lala, the soccer player? Should have phrased my question.
Why can I not find his first name again?
La.
I don't care.
Like,
No,
No.
Like,
Who does he play for? Like, what
no,
is
he
he?
for it doesn't say it on here.
Montpellier
On the
or
whole
something?
story.
Right?
Okay.
Isn't Montpellier?
No.
Okay, so he's a player on the opposition.
Yeah.
Henri yelled at. for time.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the
Okay.
French league.
Okay. All right. So now I understand what happened. Sorry, Christian. Okay. So continue.
Okay, so they were up. The opposing team. Why? I don't know why I don't have the full story up right now. But it's up 2. I only have screenshots, so that's my fault. So they're up 2-1. Falcao had just scored to make it 2-1. So they were coming back into the game, and everyone knows how Monaco's doing this season is not well. So they're obviously high tension. Henri's under a lot of pressure. So Henri yells at him. And I don't know if I should say the words.
Yeah, you could bleep it, maybe
Okay.
like, you know.
He says grandson of a B word. And then also said your grandmother is a W. So I think you guys can figure what I meant there. Yeah, not really great that Henri, who is the manager of a club, is yelling at a player on the opposition for that in the first half of wasting time. So I understand he's under pressure. Dave, I'll go to you first. How would you react to this type of situation?
Well, I think it doesn't display good leadership from Henri. So obviously I'm not for insulting a player's grandmother, especially at any point.
Weird.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fine to get frustrated at somebody for time wasting. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, Monaco's not doing well. You can understand frustration, but to insult the player and the grandmother, like to say what he said, I don't think it is okay. So for me, it's a no.
It's a no. Okay. Matt, what do you think? Is it a no?
I think it's a no. I'm still confused what a W is. I've been
He's on-
thinking about
okay, wait,
that.
sorry.
But
I just want to clarify.
I mean,
He's on
I know what it is. I can't tell if that's joking or not.
He's on. It rhymes with bore.
oh,
So
the thing I saw it just made it. I don't know. They bleeped out a lot of the other letters. I was like, what the hell are they talking? I don't know. Okay.
So he plays for Strasbourg. He is their right back, and his first name is Kenny.
Okay, there we go. Kenny Lala. That is an interesting name.
Kenny Lala.
Kenny Lala.
All right. Yeah. So for me, I don't know if it's like someone like a son of a bitch or something like that. Like I feel like that's a common phrase here. So I don't know if that's like he was a personal attack of, that his family, Lala's family or something. But I mean, obviously you should keep your cool in that position, but I don't know if this is being like blown out of proportion because of the translation, or I don't know.
So
you still shouldn't act like that.
Probably shouldn't say
stupid
that.
Henry.
Yeah.
Stupid man.
As the manager, person who's the face of the club, pretty much, you probably shouldn't be saying that. I mean, just throwing that out there. So he's saying in his post-match interview when he was explaining the situation from his side, he said he should not have said it, obviously, and he apologized. But then said, you guys don't see everything that's happening on the sidelines. The fourth official told the referee 4 times there was a foul, and the center official was not calling it. So he said he was losing his cool, and it was tiring. So, I mean, I don't know if that helps clarify, like, the stress that he was under.
But what did Lala do?
Lala was wasting time.
I mean, taking your frustration out on the wrong person.
Yeah, but that happens, right? We all do that.
Punch the ref in the face. You're right. That should have been how
would have been more entertaining than
this.
it
would have been. Yeah. So do you think that there's another way to like express himself, or do you think he just waits?
Yeah, punch the ref in the face.
Okay, well, there you go.
Count backwards from 10 and take deep breaths.
Isn't that what they tell you when you're going to sleep, when they're putting you to sleep before surgery?
I think that's hiccups.
Oh, true. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, anything else you guys have to add on Henry?
No.
Nope.
All right. So, I'm going to talk about my favorite team, Dave's favorite team, Liverpool. All right. So, it's a little bit related to Liverpool. It's more a general conversation. So, Liverpool have tied down all of their starting 11 till at least 2022, most 2023 or 2024 at this point. So, that's long term from now. We are in 2019 for those of you who are listening way in the future. Hey, it's nice to see you again. I hope you catch up. All right, so 2019 now, 2023 is 4 years away. That's a long period of time. You don't know how people are going to progress. You don't know what's going to happen. Do you think, and I'll start with Matt here, do you think it's a big deal to get players tied down that long? Do you think it matters? Because I feel like every time anyone signs a long-term deal now, they leave that summer. So I don't know what your thoughts on.
I think if you have a player on contract for a longer period of time, isn't there like value more? Because like usually you can get them cheaper towards the end of their contract. So I think even if you're going to sell them, I think it makes sense to have them for a longer period of time. I mean, the only thing I'm thinking about is players can go south or not pay too close attention with their career if they have long lucrative contracts. So I think they could take their foot off the gas and things like this thing happens all the time. With like other sports, I don't know how much it really happens with soccer, but I mean, like Alexis Sanchez now is a good example of
who?
He has. Does he have the biggest contract in England?
He's one of them. I don't know if it's the highest.
I think he may, and then he just doesn't really even play anymore. And it sucks that United is having to pay him that much, and I think things like that can go wrong. But I think it makes sense, especially for Liverpool and like the state the club's in now, to tie this group of players down for a long period of time.
Dave?
On that, just on the Alexis front real quick. I mean, I think he had a couple injuries and then everyone was kind of underperforming with Mourinho. So he could be going down, but I don't think it's a lack of motivation and lack of professionalism. And so kind of on that point, I side more with Matt. I think this is a good strategy from Liverpool to tie down these long-term investments. If the players are going to move on, they're going to get value back from them. And I don't have too much of a concern for players having a lack of motivation, because especially in soccer, you only have a very, very short window, especially at the top in your career. And so I think players are naturally going to continue to be motivated and perform. And Klopp seems to be someone who can motivate players. And I don't see anyone really coasting. So yeah, I think it's a smart business strategy from them and playing strategy as well.
Do you think it makes sense for players to sign long-term contracts though?
Yes.
Or do you think you do?
Yeah,
because no matter what, you're getting paid.
Yeah, it protects the player because, over a longer term contract, I mean, you're getting that money. God forbid something happens from an injury perspective, you're able to still have that income. So, yeah, I think it always makes sense.
Okay.
And I feel like you can always kind of get out of a club. It's not very often anymore you see like a player stuck at a club for years and years while wanting to leave. I feel like if you're public about wanting to leave, they'll eventually move you because you're just a liability to the club.
Well, yeah, and especially in soccer where there is so much player movement, if you get a reputation for not moving players that don't want to be with your club, players aren't going to want to come to you, right? And so there's this balance that you need to toe between, catering to the players and just selling everyone who immediately wants to go, but also doing right by the players. And if a player wants to move on, move them on, because then other players will say, okay, this club will take care of me. And so it makes you more attractive for another player to end up joining.
So do you ever think there's a situation where you think you should keep a player who doesn't want to be there or wants to leave?
I mean, it depends, right? If a player is... Go ahead, Matt.
So if they're still performing, why not, try to keep him? I mean, like Icardi, right, at Inter Milan, hasn't he wanted to leave for forever, and he's kind of...
Isn't he their captain?
Yeah.
I didn't know he wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Like every transfer window, you hear him say something, and then it makes no sense. And then he's their captain, and he's probably their most important player over the last couple of years. So it makes, I guess it made sense to keep him because now they're in a pretty good position.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, do you think there's any time?
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think of certain. I mean, yeah, every situation is different. And so, like, if a player just signs a new contract and then all of a sudden starts holding out, I mean, I think, yeah, a club is right to express frustrations and to hold on to them. So, yeah, there's obviously situations where it does make sense.
Okay. Because, like, I'm thinking of Luis Suarez when he wanted to go to Arsenal that year, and Liverpool refused to sell him, and then he had the best year I can remember as a Liverpool player. So, I mean, who knows? Like, it's situations like that.
Yep.
But who knows? Yeah. All right. So we'll wrap up Christian's Corner here unless you guys have anything else to add.
Nah. I'm good.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Thanks for you guys coming. Listeners. All right. And here's some music.
Bye.
Hope you enjoy. We'll be back with Dave's Dives after this.
All right. Cool. Good stuff.
I was going to say viewers, and then I was like, nope, that's not the one.
No, you can say viewers. We had somebody. We had a couple people who've come and gone.
I was going to say, I can't believe like baseball and hockey get away with 10-year contracts for people that are like 30. And they'll do that.
Yeah, it's very, very different there. And yeah, I guess the one thing I was going to say, MLS, I don't think like they sign... I think homegrowns have to sign a 3-year contract plus 2 option years, which are, I think, club option years. So if you're a young player signing with MLS, you're signing for 5 years. And generally speaking, your salary is pretty low. So I don't love that aspect of MLS. So in that instance, maybe it doesn't make sense to sign a long-term contract.
There's a lot of things that probably suck about being in the MLS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Were you supposed to answer the question? Or
were you supposed to answer the question?
The rule.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to the listener questions.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, let me give a quick plug for partners, FNX.network. Hey, everybody. Wanted to give a quick plug for our partner, FNX.network. FNX.network is a website you want to check out. It has stories, podcasts, and all different kinds of content across a variety of topics, not just specific to sports, although they do have sports on there. Entertainment, video games, lifestyle, tech, and a bunch of others. Go check all of that out. Our stuff's on there as well as tons of other awesome content, FNX.network. All right. I'm going to keep all my topics, but let's keep them, at least the first 2 I want to go through quick, and then the banter one we can dive into more detail. Does that sound good, guys?
Great.
Awesome. Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to Dave's Dive. First topic we're getting into here, FC Barcelona recently fielded an ineligible player in the Copa del Rey match against Levante, but Levante then missed the deadline to file whatever complaint that they needed to file, so Barca have not been kicked out of the competition. Levante have now gone to the Court of Arbitration for Sport to try to get the decision reversed and get Barcelona kicked out. We saw this kind of a couple years ago with Real Madrid under Rafa Benitez. Matt, let's go to you first. What do you think about the situation? Should Barcelona be kicked out even though Levante missed the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, considering what happened with Real Madrid a couple of years ago, I didn't even know about this rule or the fact that this happens at a club like these, or like can't believe that. So it's like, it's just like mind blowing to me. But I mean, if it happens to Madrid, I don't like how there was like a deadline. Why does Levante have to submit a complaint? Like, shouldn't this just be like the league? They're like, you played someone. I don't understand why there's like that rule in place. So for me, like, I think Barcelona should be disqualified. But like, I don't understand how this happens and why the rules are this way.
Well, I think at a certain point there needs to be a time where like people you just move on, and you have to have scheduling and you have to have other things. So it makes sense to have a deadline. But I agree. I think the league should be on top of these things as well, and it shouldn't necessarily be on the club. Christian, your thoughts on this?
So Barcelona keeps saying that they didn't do anything wrong. So are we sure that he was ineligible for sure?
No.
Yeah. So we can't really say. I know a couple years ago, was it Isco or who was the player that was?
It was a young.
No, it's someone we know.
Are you talking about on Real?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was no. It was the Russian guy who scored the worldie at the World Cup. Cheryshev. Yes, it was him.
Yeah, so they played him, and he got suspended in the La Liga B game, right?
It was something. Yeah, it was something from like the prior year, and it was when he was on a different team.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that is a little bit of a different situation. This is a Barcelona B player that they just brought up to play, which is weird because isn't Barcelona B also in the competition or no?
I would imagine not, because I don't think reserve teams can.
Yeah, because they just called them up, but they are playing in the second division or third division, which is it's just a weird situation because you don't see that.
But they can't be promoted, right?
They can only be up to the second division, and they can't
exactly. Yeah, they can't play against their first team.
That'd be interesting.
Hypothetically, what if Barcelona gets relegated and Barcelona B gets promoted in the same year?
Wow!
I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting thought experiment.
Ponderous.
Yeah.
All right. So,
so do you think they should be disqualified?
Yeah. Do you think?
There we go. Sorry, I got very lost there. I think that they should not be disqualified. If they did play an ineligible player, then yes. But until that is proven, there's no wrongdoing.
Fair enough. Yep. I'll agree with that.
I agree with Matt's first point, though, that why do they have to submit anything? Like, if they're breaking the rules, then they're breaking the rules. That's the league's responsibility, or the cup.
Yeah, like Barcelona doesn't have somebody that knows the rules, and Levante also doesn't have somebody that knows the rules to submit that. It's like, what's the point of having this then?
Why does it only happen with Barca and Madrid? Like, you don't hear it with any other team, unless maybe it's just because they're winning. Like, maybe it does happen with other teams.
Wait, so would Levante go through?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So there you have it, people. Yeah, I'm in agreement with Christian. If Barca is proven to have fielded an ineligible player, they should be disqualified. All right, next topic I wanted to cover, MLS. Austin FC, the new MLS franchise, the 27th MLS franchise set to debut in 2021. They recently had their announcement, and there were some interesting things that happened. So I really wanted to talk about the team handed out this like song sheet and this chant sheet, and it just had some cringeworthy just chants and all of that. Christian, what do you think about MLS and sort of the, handing out, this club really has no history, and I know that they're trying to create a culture, but what do you think about trying to kind of force it by handing out these sheets and creating these chants?
Liverpool fan saying the club has no history.
What?
It's a typical Liverpool fan coming at club's histories.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, we're going to talk about that in the next segment, but not next segment, next topic. But Christian, all right, let's stick with Austin FC for right now. What do you think about this?
Can you rephrase the question? Sorry.
So what do you think about their stupid songs?
They're manufacturing, it's not like fans came up with this. It seems like it came down from the Austin FC, management team, and they're telling fans what to chant, and it's all kind of like manufactured because they're trying to create a culture. What do you think about MLS having to do that?
No, that's bad. I think that it's a way to start at least, but after a season or two, I think the fans will get involved and will change the chants. They will have a specific group of fans, like the Sons of Ben, who create their own chants and like create their own culture, and it will just morph over time. Like some of the songs I know, because the Union was created in our lifetime, some of the songs that we started with in the beginning are no longer existing, and there's brand new stuff that has just come to be, and they're much more entertaining, like much more lively, and it's just like feel the passion of the fans. So I think it's okay to start with, because they need to slowly start building something, but eventually those fan groups take over and it completely changes.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm actually fine with this. I mean, I don't know if the song. You say the songs are pretty cringeworthy, but I mean, I like the effort that the management.
It's like, go Austin, go.
No, it's like the one they have. So there was a city council vote to bring the team to Austin or approve the stadium, and it was 7-4, and they have a chant like 7-4 about that, which is really weird. Yeah. Oh boy is right. So that's just one of them. But Matt, continue.
Yeah. So I kind of like it for the beginning. I mean, it shows like the management team's trying to like get, some buzz about the team in the city. But I mean, if they're not good, I think the fans are going to take it and, make their own chants anyway. But I think I just like the effort, and I think eventually it'll probably come up with better chants.
All right. And so the other piece of all of this is Austin FC is owned by Anthony Precourt, the former Columbus Crew owner who tried to move Columbus to Austin. Do you think this team can be successful in Austin from a market standpoint, and also from just like a negative from pretty much every other MLS fan group perspective? Do you think they can be successful there? I think Austin is the 11th most populous city or area in the US. They don't have a professional sports team, so this is the first. I'm sorry, they don't have a major professional sports team, so this is going to be kind of the first major one. They also are getting a USL franchise this year, which doesn't make any damn sense to me because there's going to be 2 soccer teams kind of there in the near future. Christian, do you think MLS can be successful in Austin?
I think it can be. I don't know for a fact. I know the Columbus owner, who is now in Austin, is not beloved and has some issues. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. I think it can be. I think in the South specifically, you have a lot of, I think, more South American influence in soccer. So there are a lot more fans down there. And I hope that it does succeed because we want more MLS teams. We want it to be more competitive. But it's hard to say right now in an environment where you haven't seen any professional teams in the past. And I think because it's a pretty large college town is there too, you might get a lot of the college kids starting to like just enjoy going to the games, and you might just have people if you make the tickets cheap. So it'll be interesting to see how they do bring in their fans.
Matt, can MLS be successful in Austin?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Texas is a huge state. I mean, Austin's a huge city. I know it's like very youthful, I want to say. Yes. Yeah, Austin, it's like very up and coming with like just like people moving there.
Tech scene's big.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be good for like especially a sport like soccer, where it's kind of like a younger person's sport at this because it's growing, and I feel like this next generation is kind of like an actual group of fans, whereas maybe the generation above us doesn't give a damn about soccer, most of them. So I think it's a good city to move the MLS team to. I think it could be very successful. And there's already 2 other teams in Texas, and I know like Texas loves their rivalries. So I think it's good that they have 3 kind of teams in this like little triangle in the middle of Texas, which I will be going to Houston Dynamo games because I am moving to Houston in about 2 months.
Are you going to go to the other games?
Yeah, I mean, except for Dallas. I'm never going to Dallas.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree. I think MLS can be successful there. It's unfortunate that the circumstances surrounding the team are sort of negative from a lot of other MLS fan groups, and everybody doesn't like the owner. But I actually think they can be really successful, and I'm interested to have them in the league. So I'm somebody who's a little bit more excited than I think a lot of other MLS fans. So yeah, I'm excited, and it'll be interesting to have them in the league. Last topic I wanted to get to here. We had this on the Slack channel that we have, the Bros Talking Soccer Slack channel. If you want to join that, hit us up at BT Soccer Pod. But and I've been thinking about this a lot because of Twitter and all of that. But Christian and Drew were getting into it a little bit between their teams and just sort of bantering back and forth and talking, a whole bunch of smack. You see a lot between City and Liverpool fans right now where they almost seem more focused on talking negative about the other team versus, just supporting their own team. And this is something I've never been able to wrap my mind around. Like, I have teams I don't like and clubs that I don't support, but I've never felt the need to like go out of my way to talk about them. And so I don't know if this makes me a bad fan or if I just feel very, very differently, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on all of this. So We started with, I think, Christian last time. So, well, Christian, I think you're going to have some interesting things to say. So what do you make of just banter amongst fans? Is it necessary or, positive, negatives? What do you think about it?
I want to start by saying I'm not going out of my way. It just comes naturally to me. So I don't really need to go out of the way. I think it's an important part of the culture for soccer specifically. I think it's in all sports. Like, I feel like it happens everywhere. Like, people just fight. Like, if you're rivals, you fight because your team's shit, not because my team's better than your team. It's like half the time that's what it is.
And that's just never made sense to me. Why? Like I just don't understand that concept. But continue.
Why doesn't everybody love everybody and everything?
Yeah, Dave,
exactly.
Do you know the nature of people? Like, people just want to put each other down more than they want to build themselves up. Like, that's how it is. Like, I feel like that is.
Do you know anything about human nature? Idiot.
Stupid. I find it like almost, it's not enjoyable, but it is enjoyable at the same time. So like, you're almost bonding. It's such a weird thing. I understand what you're talking about. It is weird, but like, Drew and I were like going at it, but then we're like bonded more because we did that. Like, that's a thing that happens. Like, you just fight. It's like brotherly love, Dave. It's like when we fight, and then we're stronger because of it.
Interesting. I don't know if everybody feels that way when they're talking shit about the other team, but Matt, what do you think about banter amongst fans?
I think it's funny and I like it, like when it's playful, but some of it's just so stupid. What's been going on with the Manchester clubs recently with the freaking empty hod jokes, and like they literally just, I see this on Twitter where it's like they just go back and forth just showing people not at their games and acting like they each sell out each game, or like obviously nobody was going to go to the game where we won 9-0 on like a Monday night, and it like one of the highway to the stadium was closed, and like people like United fans were talking all the smack about how empty it was. And in a game we won 9-0, and then like people, and it was like, oh, it was a semi-cup or semi-final of a cup. Like, people should be there, and then people are posting pictures from 3 years ago at Old Trafford where they closed like the entire upper levels around the whole stadium because nobody was there against Hull in the semifinals of the League Cup like 2 or 3 years ago. And it's like I don't understand being so hypocritical or like things like that. It's like, why are you so stupid? Like, look at your own club.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing. Almost every single team at one point is down and then is up. And so it's like nobody is infallible. So like, I've just never understood the concept of really talking shit, because like at some point I'm going to be in that situation. So I just want to support my team and just, be happy or sad in relation to my team. And yeah, I'll root against another team, but I'm not going to go out of my way to like call Raheem Sterling a diver, or like conversely, everybody who's talking about Salah diving, which I agree. I mean, he's diving and going down way too easily, but it's like, I just don't understand like compiling these highlight videos of like him diving and then just like, I don't know, talking all this stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me. So Christian, you were going to say something.
It doesn't mean that you're not like, you're saying you just want to support your team. Like, you are supporting your team when you're bantering too.
I'm not saying, no, I'm not saying you're not a good fan or you're not a supporter. I'm just saying it's never resonated with me and never made sense to go that route. And I just wanted to talk about this because I feel different. I feel like I'm different than most fans, and I wanted to just talk about this. Yes, I understand that. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting discussion. Listeners, hopefully you found it fun as well. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I like on Twitter, I saw like there was an interaction between you and like some Liverpool account, and you were saying like, oh, how Matt's a City fan, and then like the person just started like talking shit on City, and like I like read that Twitter exchange. I was just like, don't even get me started with Liverpool right now. I didn't even respond. I was like, how can you say something as a Liverpool fan right now about the state of Man City?
Yeah, well, like, I mean, that's what I get at.
Like, sad he's a City fan. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and the other thing is, everybody wants to say, oh, City, in 2008 when their history started. I mean, the reality of the situation is that's not. They have an incredibly long history. They've had success in the past. And yes, in the modern times, I don't care that you got an owner that made your club amazing. Like, what? I don't understand why that's something to talk shit on. Again, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And it just feels hypocritical. So, Christian, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. And
I do, but I'm just gonna...
Okay. All right. Before we get to our listener questions, we have a ton of listener questions, which is awesome. Thank you, everybody that sent in the listener questions. Before we do that, go check out the Soccer Tavern YouTube channel. It's got videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. Tons of videos on there. We hope to get back to making videos. It's taking a little break. We're going to be actually making more videos on the Bros Talking Soccer YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that. First listener question comes to us from @Stephen C. Brandt, who we're going to have on the podcast in a little bit. He just said Marcelo Bielsa. We talked about this last week, but obviously he had that crazy press conference this week where he just opened up his book and just gave all kinds of details about Derby County and the way he goes about scouting. Christian, quick thoughts on Marcelo Bielsa in the press conference this week?
You probably shouldn't do that. Again, it's not against the rules, but it's extremely unethical the way he's scouting other people. And now he's just giving up his tactics pretty much in the public, showing how he does things. And I know he's using it almost as a defense against why he was spying on other teams. But, like, you already were caught. Stop digging your grave deeper.
Interesting. Matt, thoughts?
I think I'm going to stick to kind of what I said last week when we talked about this. I don't think it's that big of a deal, even like with tactics. I think soccer is such a game of in the moment and how the ball bounces and how do you react to certain things. It's not just, you're going to play this way the entire 90 minutes. Soccer is kind of, a game of, things going like fortunate bounces and things like that. So I think it's not that big of a deal, like this whole situation for what it's got made out to be.
Yeah, I actually love that he came out and just opened up the book and said like all of this. I thought it was really fascinating getting that detail. And I love that his response was basically like, I'm a psycho. I need this to keep myself sane. I need to do this level of detail. So I'm okay with it all. Next question.
Wait, was he the one that Pep Guardiola said he knows more about Barcelona than I do when they played when Pep was there?
Yeah. So Marcelo Bielsa's insane. So he's a really cool guy. Next question from @expat Guna. The lack of female executives at the board level within the upper tier clubs in Europe. Spurs and Chelsea currently have a woman on their respective boards in England, but elsewhere the absence is glaring and embarrassing. Matt, thoughts on female executives?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to change as it gets more progressive. Times get more progressive, but I mean, I think we all agree like they're perfectly capable to do that job, and eventually they're gonna be integrated more fairly.
Christian, thoughts?
Yeah, I can't really say much more than that. I think that they're ready, clearly, at this point in the world. Like, they're obviously ready to take on any type of task that is offered, specifically in soccer. Like, it's obvious. Like, they are I feel like in FIFA, you see more women are appearing as well. So I think you'll start to see it kind of trickle down into the club levels.
Yeah, and we talked about this with the JS Leatherbarrow interview from a couple of weeks ago. He's talking about how the women's game is really starting to rise and start to gain traction. And so I think naturally as that gains more, of a reputation and people see that as more viable. And we're already seeing it, especially in Germany. You're seeing a lot of crossover with women taking on, manager positions and refereeing of first team games as a center official and all of that. And I think as that happens on the playing side, it's naturally going to flow over to the business side. And so again, I think all of this is great. And I don't know if there needs to be a set requirement, and I don't know exactly how to influence it, or if it's just a matter of the cultural shift sort of happening, especially with the younger generation. But I agree, there needs to be more women on the boards. It's better to have a different perspective, and it's just better. These are multinational businesses at this point, and to have varying perspectives can only be good. So they need to have more female executives at that level. Next question from @SoccerNoobUSA. Do any of the bros have any favorite teams outside MLS and the Premier League, or even beyond Western Europe? Christian, any thoughts there? Any other teams you support? FC Barcelona would be one. Any others?
I feel like since Klopp has come in, I kind of pay attention to Dortmund now. I do like the way that they play. But really outside of that, and I liked Milan in Italy. So I have like a favorite from each of the top 5 leagues, I feel like. But that's really it.
Who's your favorite Ligue 1 team?
Actually, no. Top 4 leagues.
Matt, any other teams you support?
Yeah, I mean, well, I sent this message the other day to you guys, or was it yesterday morning, about Wolves. Dude, I was saying, like, if I knew 10 years ago about Wolves, like, what a cool name, crest, like, everything about Wolves is just so cool. And, like, now they're playing, like, every game they play is incredible because they play the top teams so well. They play the bottom teams just shithousing those games. Like, it's crazy. There's just every game is entertaining. They play the mid-level teams incredibly entertaining. It's just, like, I love watching Wolves play.
All right. For me, I'm more just kind of tend to pay attention to where American players are. So right now, I'm following Dortmund because of Christian Pulisic and, their title run, which is awesome. And just keeping tabs.
You're going to be a big Chelsea guy now?
No. But I mean, on that front, like, even though I'm a Liverpool supporter, when a bunch of Americans were at Everton, I wasn't a fan, but, I wanted them to do well. And I don't know, they were never really a threat. So I think that kind of helps there. You happy, Christian? Little dig at that Everton there. So it's more just kind of where Americans are. And so I pay attention to kind of that, but no specific teams. Next question from @SoccerSwap. Why does everyone who was offered the chief executive role at the Premier League keep turning them down? Matt, any thoughts on the chief executive at the Premier League?
I'm sorry, repeat the question. I was fixing my hood.
Why does everyone who is offered the chief executive role at the Premier League keep turning it down?
I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah. Christian, any thoughts?
I feel like you're going to be under a lot of scrutiny in that position, and that's the only reason why I could think that you just like that's one of the most difficult positions, I'm sure, that is offered in soccer in England.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's tough to keep everybody happy, and well said, Christian. Next question is from @Northwood Guitar. It looks like Australia has parted ways with their head coach 5 months before the World Cup. This is the women's team. I had a little bit of confusion on this question, but eventually we got it cleared up. No info that changes immediate or post-tournament. So what happened here is the team has been underperforming basically for about a year, and the federation went to go do an analysis of, ways to improve kind of morale. And what they ended up finding was that there was this toxic culture, and the team, which is, I believe, a top 5 team in the world, basically had this toxic culture where players were being told to play through injury, and they were just being overworked and all of this. And it wasn't exactly proven that the manager was directly responsible for, saying for the players to go ahead, but they ultimately decided that he was responsible for setting the culture, and they let him go. So what do you think about that decision, about him being responsible? And then what do you think about them, 5 months before the World Cup, replacing their manager, Christian?
It's not a good culture. You should not be playing through injury. And if they're feeling the pressure, like even if it's said, not being said, not being said. Yep. So even if it's not being said, you still feel as though if I don't play right now, I might not get back into the team at all. And like, you can just see what's happening around you and you can feel it. So that's not good because you should not be playing through injuries. It can really damage your career, as we've seen with some of the male players we've seen over the years. And I'm sure some of the women players have experienced this as well. Like, you should be able to take your time to fully heal and let your body just get ready to play in a full fitness again. Because if you don't, it could really damage yourself.
So is it the right decision to fire the manager 5 months before the World Cup, given this?
If really leading that pressure, then yes, I think that it does make sense.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I think if the morale was low around the whole federation and the whole system, I think it makes sense to fire him, especially going into a major tournament. Like, what, you don't want to go into a major tournament, not liking each other, not liking the system. So I think at this point it does make sense. And I mean, I know it's a little close, and whoever's coming in next won't have the best kind of grasp on the player pool, but I still think it's enough time they'll get to pick the player pool and try to do as much as they can in the next 5 months. Where I think it's definitely doable. It's not like Spain, firing 2 days before the World Cup started.
I think it's the night before, right?
Yeah,
it's the eve.
Yeah, but two days before their first match.
Yeah. So I think that would be more problematic, but I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys. 2 more questions here. Next one's from @Paul McGarrigy. Some fans have been saying he was saying this was a bit of a piss take and disrespectful by Ederson. But so he sent the photo of Ederson basically dribbling out to midfield and then playing combination passes just in the middle of the field. Paul seems to think it was brilliant, and it showed that he's fearless and he's an exceptional footballer playing in a phenomenal team. Where do you guys stand? Was it disrespectful or class? And he also wants to just say, just for a bit of background, he started his career as a left back, but asked to be a goalkeeper because he didn't want to have to run as much. So he's basically lazy. Matt, you're the City fan. What do you think of what Ederson did?
I mean, that whole sequence of plays, if you haven't seen it, it's incredible. He got so incredibly lucky. I mean, he did have to come out, and then the second time he kind of got a lucky bounce with how he jumped at a player who tried to dribble around him and it hit off him. And he was about 40 yards outside of his goal at that point. The ball bounces like another 10 yards. He makes a pass, and Fernandinho kind of put him in that position. He was like, all right, whatever. I trust him. So Fernandinho kind of put him in that position and just kept playing it back to him while he was out at the 50-yard line. But I didn't think it was disrespectful. I mean, it was kind of the right play, and City retained possession. I mean, what else was he supposed to do? Just kick it out and watch Ederson run back to his goal? We retained possession.
Christian, thoughts?
I haven't seen it, so it's really hard for me to weigh in here. But if I mean, it depends how it was happening. It's really hard. I don't know what else I can say right now.
Matt, what was the scoreline at the time? Do you remember? Weren't they up big?
Yeah, we were up big, but I mean, close out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still fine with it. I can understand why people at that point, he would never do that if it was 0-0, maybe is the argument. But I don't think it was disrespectful at all. Again, it was the right play. They kept possession. What does it matter? I mean, when he does a chop in his own 6-yard box with a player closing down, again, I don't think it's...
Yeah, that was 0-0.
Exactly. I don't think it's disrespectful. I think it's dumb sometimes to take those risks. But, I mean, if he gets away with it, I mean, more power to him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think people saying, was it disrespectful? Don't know Ederson and how City play, because that's that happens. I mean, obviously it was at midfield, but this is once every other game where he does some crazy stuff like this.
Yeah. All right. Last question from @PureFitball. Late question for you. If you could add any rule from the NFL to the MLS, what would it be? Christian, thoughts?
Oh, God, what? I have to go first. I'm not ready. Hold on.
All right. Matthew. Thoughts?
I mean, it's so hard because a lot of them football rules are a lot of football specific, and the other ones I feel are already in soccer. I'm trying to think. So the only thing I thought about was pass interference, where you can't obstruct somebody. It would be a lot more offense, but I mean there is obstruction right now. We were talking about that. That's not I mean, it doesn't get called that much, but if you're in a player's getting in his way or touching him or push him out of his path a little bit, that would be pass interference. Maybe that, but I'm trying to think of any other.
If you kick it over the goal, it's 3 points.
Yeah. South Americans are about to love soccer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll cop out and say an administrative rule. I would love the NFL salary cap in MLS. $100 and however many $1 million per team. That we could get some really cool players. So I know that's not a fun answer to the question, but yeah, I think it's really tough to pick a specific rule. Christian, and any other thoughts that you have?
What if
intentional grounding?
I thought of one.
Okay.
You can't kick it away. You have to pass to somebody.
It has to be in the area of somebody, you mean?
Yeah, well, no, you just can't.
So you can't just kick it out of bounds.
Yeah,
so it's a free kick if you.
Yeah, so you have to pass to somebody.
All right.
Henderson would be screwed.
There's one.
Yeah. So maybe people who don't understand NFL rules, just real quick, Matt, do you want to explain what intentional grounding is, or you want me to?
Okay, so when a quarterback is in his own pocket, so between the two tackles.
So the offensive line. Assume people don't know much about the NFL.
Okay, within that box of where the offensive line starts, and he doesn't attempt to throw it to a receiver, then the other team, it counts as a sack kind of and a loss of down from where the quarterback threw that ball if he's not attempting to throw it to one of his own players. So I think, or maybe even what
is it, indirect kick then?
Yeah, indirect kick.
That's an interesting one. Wow, that's a cool one, man. That would make very interesting things. So you couldn't just just kick it and clear it out of the box. So I like that rule. Christian, what about you? You said you thought of one.
Mine was a different one, very different. It would be kickoff. So instead of a tap, you kick it to the other team, and they have to start.
Oh,
yeah.
Remember when Leipzig?
So you could kick it really high and then hope your team gets to it first.
Interesting. So you have to kick it off. All right.
And you have to be behind the line. Like, yeah,
there you go. This was very well done, guys. I know we got this question while we were recording, and fantastic work. Just excellent professionalism.
It was a great question, so thanks for asking.
Yeah, Pure Football, thank you for asking. Let us know, listeners, what you think about rules. What do you think of our rules? And we'd love to hear from you at BT Soccer Pod. Christian, can you give our trivia question? We'll give our guesses.
Do you guys know, before this year, when last year, I guess at this point, but the
2018 Men's
World Cup, when was the last time there was not a 0-0 draw in the World Cup?
Wait, last time there was not one?
Not one.
Okay.
I remember them talking about it. This immediately popped into my head when you said it. I'm going to say 1982. I don't know if that's right. I don't know why.
Apparently Matt was going to guess that.
Really?
Yeah, I was going to go. All right.
You can guess it. Hey, we can both roll the dice.
I think I'm going to go 1994 then.
1994. All right, guys. I got to tell you, it was not the best showing here. It was way before. 1954 is the last time there was not at least one goalless draw.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because back then I felt like scoring was a lot more prevalent just because of the formations that were played and all of that. So I would have thought, wait, there was not? Hold on. Say it again.
That was
the last time there was
zero
goalless
games.
Oh, okay. Never mind. So that makes perfect sense then. Because, okay, never mind. You know what? I'm an idiot. I didn't think... I got confused about the question. God damn it. All right, listeners, hopefully you just better...
Again.
Yeah, hopefully you have better reading comprehension and listening comprehension than I do. Before I close out here, we are starting hoodie sales. So for the next 3 weeks, that's how it works. We have hoodies on sale. Please go support us at $35. Really cool design. They're available in black, red, and blue. Go on sale on Monday, January 21st. They'll be available till early February. I forget the date off the top of my head. $3 for every hoodie sold is going to a charity. We have that vote up on our Twitter account. It's the last. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can still have time to vote. If you're listening to the podcast, the vote has already closed. And $3 for every hoodie sold will go to either Balls to Cancer or One Goal United. Those are the two leading charities right now. And so please support us. It would greatly help us out, support the cost of the show, and also you'll help out an awesome charity. So please consider doing that if you have the means, and we would greatly appreciate it. On that front, please consider leaving us a review specifically on iTunes. That helps us out the most. So if you're listening on iOS, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes. That would be amazing. Christian, do you want to tell people about the Slack channel?
I would love to. So please visit our Slack universe. So if you want to join, it is an email to bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com, and we'll get you in there. So it is an interactive little channel universe. So we have all these different topics that are in there that you can click on, and it's breaking news, each of the top 5 European leagues, international soccer, transfer rumors, anything you could think of, U.S. soccer, anything that you can really think of. If you think of something that we don't have, let us know. We might add it for you. And you can just talk with other people, talk with us, just really get involved with the soccer universe. And we'd love to have you in there.
Yeah, we'd love to have Matt in there at some point as well. So we're looking.
Literally doing it now.
Oh. There you go. There you go. Listeners, be like Matt. You want to be like Matt and sign up. Where can people find us? Christian, I'll go to you since Matt's on his phone there. On Twitter?
Where can you find us? On Twitter, it's BT Soccer Pod, at BT Soccer Pod. Yeah.
Yep. And already said the email bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. What's our website?
brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. And on that, you can find information about us, and you can find past podcasts, and you can click on our store link. And if you click on that, it takes you to Amazon. If you're buying anything on Amazon, we get a portion of the proceeds, no additional cost to you, and it really helps with our production of our show. So we really would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes. So listeners, please consider doing that. Consider the hoodie purchase and consider leaving us a review. All of it really helps us out. And we really appreciate you guys. We love all our listeners, and thank you so much. Thank you for listening to this episode. Christian, thanks for being here.
Dave, it was my honor.
Matthew, thanks for being here.
Thank you, David. You're incredible.
Thanks. I think you guys are incredible too. Listeners, most of all, we think you're incredible. Thanks for being here, and we will talk to you soon. See you, everybody. People of YouTube, bye.
Hey, guys.
Who do we have? Oh, we have Thomas Homa this week as our interview guest. He is an assistant coach of a soccer team in Augsburg, I think, in Minnesota. So look for that interview coming on Thursday. Yeah, Augsburg. Nah, not the German city. Okay, listeners, viewers, thanks. We'll see you. Bye.